Broadcasting live from the Vivid Crag, this is Tap Tap Concede.
Welcome, everybody, to Tap Tap Concede. Graham here.
And Kathleen.
Along with Kathleen and...
Surge.
Surge is here.
Yay.
Yes, we brought our good friend and Judge. Surge, level 2?
No, 1.
Just 1. Still, though.
Ambitious, going for 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
When are you gonna do that?
I don't know. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, keep us updated.
yeah,
we'll have
well.
a celebratory Surge is a level 2 Stump the Judge podcast
God.
when you get
Yeah.
to be... Well, we'll do it right after you've studied, so...
Okay.
So it'll be fresh.
It'll all be fresh.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching the video version of the podcast, earlier today, our headsets finally arrived. So now we have hands free. I can move around. I can turn
It is
away.
now physically impossible for Cam to be too quiet on a podcast because we literally have a microphone strapped to his
And
head.
we all look like we're doing TED Talks about the importance of magic cards.
The Brittany.
It's amazing. No, this is not. No, the Brittany is pink and really, really thin. This is like for motivational speakers.
Hi.
This is how you
I'm
play
here
some
to
magic.
talk to you about the Kathleen system of investment wealth freedom.
Exactly.
First, you give me your money, and then I have wealth freedom.
To buy magic cards.
So this
Yeah.
episode of Tap Tap Concede, this is episode 84, and it's talking about Modern Masters 2015 spoilers. And those of you who were paying attention to YouTube or the RSS feeds recently might be saying, wait, I thought there already was an episode 84 that was about Modern Masters spoilers. Well, as you probably would have seen on Twitter, we actually decided to pull that episode and basically do it again. It was myself and Alex and Kathleen and Cam, and we were looking at some of the early spoilers, and frankly, we got a lot of things wrong. Which is not okay. You guys deserve better than that, especially because a lot of people, we know this, who listen to Tap Tap Concede are not, they're newer players or they're less experienced. And if we say something that's wrong, they'll be like, oh, that must be the correct thing. And then they'll tell their friends and then they'll be the people who are wrong. And we don't want that. And it was a combination. There was 2 problems. One, we were looking at mythicspoiler.com, which is usually very good about these things. And in fact, we'll be looking at it again today.
Yeah.
But at the time, their Modern Masters spoilers was based on a leak that was not actually confirmed. And there was no indication of that on the site. And we didn't realize because there's no sort of central authority where we would have known that. And so we spent a lot of time talking about the cycle of command cards when only Cryptic Command and Profane Command are confirmed to be reprinted. So we wasted a lot of time talking about the other 3 cards, and so that was a problem. And the art was didn't reflect the new rarities in some cases, and that was a problem. So that was unfortunate. Then combined with that, we just got stuff wrong. As it turns out, most of us don't play Modern, and we got our wires crossed in a lot of cases. We said Primeval Titan was banned in Modern. That's not true. In fact, it's being reprinted in Modern Masters 2015. It's banned in Commander, which we knew, and obviously got that confused. But
I think that's where the misunderstanding came from.
Yeah, and we were talking about the Cloud Post deck, and it's like Cloud Post is banned in Modern. We spent a lot of time talking about this 12 Post deck that can't be played in Modern really because one of the Locust lands is banned, and so yeah, we messed a lot of stuff up. And one of the YouTube comments actually was not necessarily the greatest resource for criticism, but we do read them. And one of the comments said, you guys are usually better than this, and it's like, you know what, we are and we should be, and so we're doing it again. And we brought Surge in, who actually knows a little bit more about Modern than we do. And yeah, because we've made mistakes before, and it's never been a massive problem. Like we'll misremember a rarity or something, or I think the biggest one was that commander damage thing, where we keep forgetting that it has to be combat damage.
What about the time we called, what was that one rat, Relentless Rats, Ravenous Rats, and talked about it, I think, 40 times.
The world will crumble down. Yeah, exactly. But the last episode, there was just too much, and it's not good to have that out there because other people are going to hear it and think that we're telling the truth, and
Yeah.
Then we look stupid, and then we make them look stupid indirectly, or people do know that we're wrong, and it's just like no one wants to sit there listening to a podcast where people are talking about wrong stuff for 10 minutes on end. So here we are, do over. But some people were asking, they're like, "But what about the Crack-a-Pack?" Because I said in the comments that we open a pretty interesting pack of Weatherlight, and
It's my
people were
favorite
like,
part.
What about the Crack-a-Pack? So We have the same pack. Ooh. We got this from David at PAX East. David's pack of Weatherlight will not go to waste.
We've already cracked it.
We've already cracked it.
I haven't.
This is the same pack. Exactly. Surge has no idea what's in it, and neither should you unless you happen to see the podcast that went up. But there's flavor text on this one.
Wait, on the pack?
Yeah. Sisay of the Weatherlight has been kidnapped, and the remaining crew of the flying ship must rescue everything to recover her. From the port of Imperial Benalia to the mysterious forests of Llanowar to the volcanic heart of Bogarden, adventure awaits them at every turn. Come aboard Weatherlight and book passage for adventure.
Ooh.
So Weatherlight,
flavorful.
Weatherlight was like about this group of like pirate adventurers.
Kinda.
It's where like characters like Gerard Capuchin come from.
Yep. Gerard and Sisay and Miri.
Miri. Not Miri the Cursed. That's like an alternate version of her or something.
Miri
like
the not cursed.
Miri the cat.
The other Miri.
She's like a
before
green
the
cat.
demon cat. Well, Miri's Guile. Very, very powerful green mana enchantment. Now, is this the set that has the crystals as the symbol?
No, that's one of the Urza block. No, yes, that's one of the Urza block ones.
Okay.
This is the book.
Oh, really?
Because it's the story of Weatherlight.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Now I've actually rearranged the cards.
Oh, so the rares at the end?
So the rares at the end, because before, back when this was
straight
made,
rare?
no, it was uncommon, rare, all the commons. But there's no commonality indicator on the set symbol because they're all black and white at this time period.
Okay.
So
you wouldn't know what the rare was unless you
man.
looked it up in like
Having
some sort of magazine you ordered.
having my hands free to hold these cards is great.
Yeah.
All right, so
Love these new mics.
Lava Storm. 3 red instant. Lava Storm deals 2 damage to each attacking creature or 2 damage to each blocking creature.
It's like a one-sided pyroclasm, kind of.
For 5 and
Kinda.
instant speed?
Yeah,
It has to be instant
yeah.
speed because it's combat.
5, I mean, it's got to be a 5 mana red instant. A 5 mana red instant is either quite good or garbage.
I think that's actually pretty good.
I think this is good.
Limited? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know what size the creatures were in this set, but that seems good. Back in this time of Magic,
creatures were smaller.
Yeah, basically anything that wasn't green had small creatures.
Or it had a horrific backside like Leviathan. Sacrifice 2 islands to attack or untap.
And they're like, well, that's what you get for having like 6 power on the board.
That was a 10-10 trample or something like that. Yeah.
This is my vote, probably, though, for worst flavor text.
Ooh.
They say lava conquers all.
Boo. I remember that from the first time we recorded this podcast, and it's still awful.
Serge looks like he's in pain.
I think that could actually be good in like a pauper cube, actually. Because you're going to get smaller creatures in a pauper
That'd
cube.
be so good in a pauper
It'd be really
cube.
good, actually.
Yeah, like wipes out White Weenie, wipes out goblins, elves.
In
lot of
in
vampires.
Conspiracy, in a format like that, if you're doing 2-headed giant or multiplayer, you could actually blow out 2 players if they attacked each other. You're like, haha.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even commander, depending
Well,
on
no,
your
because
metagame.
it's attacking or blocking.
Or
You have to choose 2 damage to
or-
each attacking or 2 damage
right,
to
it'd
each
be
blocking.
terrible if it was 1-on-1 and it was both.
Yeah.
You're like, then it'd just be instant speed pyroclasm for 5. Okay.
Well, you could do it before blockers.
Yeah.
You could do it in response to declaration of attacks.
Yeah.
Anyway. You know what's going to get outclassed in that pauper cube, though? Dwarven Berserker. It's 1 and a red for a 1/1. If it's blocked, it gets +3/+0 and trample until end of turn.
Oh, neat. That's a really fun mechanic. They have that in Infect.
Really?
Yeah, there's an artifact creature that's a 1/1, but if it's blocked, becomes a 3/3.
Oh, a 3/3.
I thought it was a 3/3. Did I make that up?
It might be a 3/1. I don't know. It's in the from Scars block?
Yeah.
Oh, what was it? No, you're right. I remember it now.
Yeah, it's a 1/1 for 2 colorless artifact creature. When it's blocked,
like-
I think it gets +2/+2.
It's like Necropouncer or something.
Yeah.
Is it the dog?
That sounds adorable.
Oh, the Rotwolf was the dog. That was the 3 mana for 2 colorless and a green. That when a creature
And when it
dies, you get to draw a card.
Yeah. But there was an artifact hound.
Yep.
In Scars of
Artifact
Mirrodin.
Hound too. Fun. What a great block.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm sure we'll figure that out later. See, that's a slump in knowledge that I'm cool with having.
What is with the flavor text in this set?
Oh, it's terrible.
I may be small, but I can kick your butt.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hilarious.
I don't
flavor
think that
text.
would pass Mustard Wizards today.
So this is interesting. This one I thought was pretty cool. You might already know about this card. Oh, what? Paul has something.
That'd be the Ichor Claw Mirror.
Yeah.
Acre Claw Mirror. Of course. It was it's a 1/1.
It's a 1/1 infect for 2 colorless. whenever Ichorclaw Mirror becomes blocked, it gets +2/+2 till end of turn.
Right.
Well remembered, Surge.
Nice.
I love Infect.
So, the Llanowar Druid. It's 1 and a green for a 1/2 elf. Tap and sacrifice Llanowar Druid. Untap all forests.
Oh.
Is that
Oh.
good enough to be running like an Elf Highlander deck? Or is it just okay?
Now, it's all forests.
Yeah, it's neat. I mean, I don't think it... If it untapped all lands, it'd be really cool, because then you could use it to untap Gaia's Cradle, and
Right.
it would be
That-
banana.
Well, that'd be insane.
Right? Untaps all forests. Maybe.
See, and you're thinking to yourself, that actually sounds pretty good, but like high level, like Elf Highlander or Commander decks, there's so many elves in Magic that it only
You can
has to
choose.
use the best.
You can have better than that.
I mean,
That seems really good, though.
Yeah.
it sounds janky, but if you're playing like a high tide deck where you could double the amount of mana it was producing, then maybe you could go crazy with it if you had like Mirari's Wake or something in play.
And you don't mean like a literal high tide deck, because that's islands only.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're playing tropical islands or something, but the idea of
Yeah,
you tap
that's
a
true.
land,
You get 4 tropical island and 4 breeding pool.
then
Jinx.
yeah,
I got there.
Sure. I mean, it's starting to get pretty narrow.
Yeah.
It's a
It's-
sort of magical Christmas land
Yeah,
territory.
yeah,
of-
yeah.
And then this
It's-
happens, and
it's-
it's perfect.
It's an interesting effect.
It is. Not quite Palancron.
Dusk
Well,
Rider.
few things are.
Yeah. Dusk Rider Falcon is a 1/1 bird for 1 and a white with flying and protection from black.
That actually sounds good.
That's really good.
That seems still fine in a Pauper Cube,
Doesn't
honestly.
die to Doomblade. Dies a lightning bolt, but doesn't die to Doomblade. Oh yeah, hey. I
mean-
guess also if you're watching the video,
great.
we're experimenting with a new way of doing the overlay. It's a very rough experiment. You'll see it's over to the side right now, because if we put it in the middle and there's only 3 people, it basically completely obscures whoever's in the middle.
Especially if it's me.
Yeah.
If
it
it's
was
in
like
tests,
if
I
it
would
was
not be
like-
visible on screen.
It would be like forehead. If it was Surge or I, we're like cut off at the neck.
It just looks bad.
It's weird.
Every time a card shows up, you just cough. Ugh.
Yeah, when there's 4 people, it goes up in the middle. It sort of works, but anyway, we're playing around. Sage Owl is next. Now this one's kind of interesting. It's a 1/1 flying bird for 1 and a blue. When Sage Owl comes into play, look at the top 4 cards of your library and put them back in any order. Now, Cam referred to this as the Scoop Owl.
I was going to say, those cards are only good if you want to know if it's time to scoop or not. And
Yeah,
I used to
'cause
love this effect.
You look at the top 4 and you're like, oh, I'm drawing lands for the next. Well,
Oh, guess I
good
just...
game.
Yeah.
Game 2.
It's kind of like Proto Scry. I think this
Yeah,
is.
but the one that Cam brought up that that was crazy was the Augury Owl. No, yeah,
Augury Owl, yeah.
the Augury Owl from Zendikar block. That when it comes into play, you scry 3. You scry 3, wasn't it?
For the same cost. Now, what's interesting, while we're being...
Sorry, yeah, it's you scry. It's 1 and a blue, 1/1 flying. You scry 3 when it enters the battlefield. It's from Magic 2011.
Oh, we're right. I thought it was from Zendikar block because I was confusing it with the Umara Raptor, which is the ally. Anyway, so yeah, that beats the tar out of this.
Yeah. Now, we are being kind of critical of it, and it is a good time. You know, the joke is pretty legit. You're like, well, I can't do anything about these cards on top, so I may as well scoop. But there was a land from, I think it was Zendikar block. If it wasn't Zendikar, it might have been Worldwake or something like that, called Halimar Depth.
Yeah.
And it was a blue land, came into play tapped. And when it came into play, look at the top 3, put them back in any order.
Yeah.
And that saw a lot of play. It was a
Yeah.
staple in standard and control
That
decks
was
for a while.
that was sort of free though, right? Because it was a
Right,
land.
I guess the difference being you're not paying land for it, but the effect can be very, very powerful. Especially if you have any way to manipulate your deck. At that time, they also had fetch lands, so you could be like, see ya, and just shuffle it away if it was
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
Next up is.
Well, I mean, you couldn't shuffle it away like the turn that Halimar Depths came into play, but you could shuffle it at the end.
At some point, yeah.
But you shuffle it at the end of your opponent's turn, because you can only play 1 land a turn, and of
Well, you
course,
could-
when you sacrifice the land, you get a.
If you had a fetch in play.
Yeah, if you had a fetch
Yeah.
in play and you had the Halmar Depths in hand, then you untap, play the depths, look, and then go, I don't want any of those 3. Then crack your fetch, and then you go looking. Another blue card up next. It's Apathy. Single blue mana for a creature enchantment. The creature does not untap during its controller's untap phase. That's not an unusual effect for blue.
No.
You okay?
Yep.
All right. But during the upkeep of Enchanted Creature's controller, that player may discard a card at random to untap that creature.
Maybe I was thinking of Paralyze or something. There's an old black enchantment, didn't untap it unless you paid 4. I remember this card. This card fills me with so much nostalgia. I love the art.
It's got that Phil Folio art.
Oh, it's so good.
But it's like a bad narcolepsy, though.
Oh, yeah.
From like a gameplay
Oh,
point
it's
of
not.
view.
It's not great, but I remember this card when I was a kid growing up with Magic, and I love it. It has a very, very warm spot in my heart.
Now they have to have a card to be able to discard a card, right? You can't.
You have to be able to pay the cost.
Yeah, you can't activate that with no cards in hand. Yeah. Here's a weird one: Haunting Misery. I'd love to know what you think of this one, Serge. 1
Sure.
black for a sorcery. Remove X cards in your graveyard from the game. Haunting Misery deals X damage to target player.
Do you also have to pay X?
No,
No.
It's 1 black.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
can
that
I-
seems good to me.
1 black, exile X creatures, dome them for X.
I mean, like, you obviously have
Oh,
to have...
creatures.
Yeah.
Okay. If
Oh, I
if
thought
it
you
was-
said cards.
If it was just cards in
Creature
your graveyard,
cards.
that would be
Creature
bananas.
cards. Oh yeah, that would be bananas, but no. I was actually thinking of a different card.
I
When
think
I said it was, I mean, I'm still interested to see what you think, but
I think it's okay,
there's
but I
2
don't
cards
think it's great.
in this pack that seem kind of similar.
It's certainly fun.
Like it can be. Do you think that could be a finisher in a Reanimator strategy?
I don't think it would be in Reanimator. If you were like
Well,
mono
because
black
you're
aggro.
already dumping stuff in your bin. Oh, aggro makes more sense.
Yeah, because creatures are going to die as a side effect, or
Right.
if you had sort of the Tassiger self-mill plan where
Right.
you're just trying to get value out of filling your own graveyard, then this would be
Banana
a
Man's
lot
all about
better.
that.
Yeah, I want to tell Alex about this. Like anybody who plays a very aggressive mono black strategy.
Well, he was here when we did it before. He was a little interested.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it's not good in Reanimator because your finishing move in Reanimator is to reanimate something huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not remove it. Yeah, Reanimator normally only plays 3 or 4 huge threats.
And we're talking about some of those coming up. Actually,
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
of
yeah,
Modern
yeah.
Masters, yeah. This is a weird one. This one's real strange.
Okay.
Betrothed of Fire. It's 1 and a red for a creature enchantment. Sacrifice an untapped creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
Ugh.
Sacrifice enchanted creature. All creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn.
That second mode's pretty good.
Kinda, yeah. I guess it costs you this card and a creature to trumpet blast your team.
Yeah, but you have threat of activation at any time.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not nothing. I mean, it's better to surprise people with a trumpet blast, let's be honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they didn't have trumpet blast when the set came out, so it
Yeah,
seems
like
okay.
it's flexible.
It's kind of neat. Yeah, if it was just the first part, it'd be terrible. But with the second part,
Yeah.
it's pretty spicy.
I feel like
Paul?
the second part is quite playable. The first part is almost negligible to the value of the card.
I mean, there are top
One
tier.
second. Who was that, Paul?
I was just saying there's a fun gatherer ruling on this card.
Oh,
So if you control Betrothed of Fire,
right.
but the creature that it's on gets like control magicked.
Mm-hmm.
So you no longer control the creature it's on, but you control the enchantment.
Right.
It makes it so that you, the new person who controls the creature, can't activate the enchantment, and you can't activate the enchantment because you can't sacrifice a creature you don't control.
But you could sacrifice not that you'd want to, but you could sacrifice
Your own creatures.
an untapped creature to give that creature +2/+0.
Yes,
Though you probably would not want
but
to
it's
do that.
but neither player can actually activate its second ability.
That's
good
so
one.
fun. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
Oh, wait, corner case. Domestication.
What?
Domestication is a control magic
Okay.
style card. It's 2 blue. You get the creature, but if during the end step, I believe, the creature's power
Exceeds.
is 4 or greater, then domestication goes away and you get the creature back.
That's kind of fun. There are actually a couple cases.
Corner case.
Where it's really helpful. Well, or if you're playing in Eternal formats where Batterskull or Jite or anything where lifelink would be relevant, you could sacrifice your own creature to it before blockers or after blockers are declared, and then that way they don't gain the life. I mean, again, a small corner case, but sometimes that's extremely important. If you've ever
No,
been...
but we're talking about if someone else controls... Because you, you can't sacrifice their creature.
No, but sometimes sacrificing your own creature is extremely important. Like if they're attacking with a GT and you don't want their GT to get to counters, you block and you just sacrifice it.
You sacrifice your creature to your betrothed of fire on their creature.
Yeah.
But, right, okay,
I mean,
that makes sense.
I mean, if nothing else, the first ability is not great, but it is a sack outlet.
Yeah.
It sure is.
And sometimes...
Sometimes that's not nothing.
Sometimes corner cases are extremely relevant sometimes. Are we
right,
at the
right.
uncommons yet?
No.
No, not yet. A
Okay.
couple more. Right, so there was a card in M15
Okay.
called Shaman of Spring.
Okay.
It was a 2/2
For
3 and a green. It was an elf. When it entered the battlefield, you draw a card. Remember
Okay.
that one? The really cool, like...
She looked awesome.
Like crazy perspective art where her hand is like really close to the virtual camera, and
You enjoying this hands-free microphone experience, Graham?
I really am.
I don't remember that, but it seems fine.
Anyway, here's
2/2
here's
cantrip. Yeah.
Here's basically the same card. It's striped bears.
Ooh.
2/2 for 3 and a green. Bears, when they come into play, draw a card.
Cool.
Like Shaman of Spring was pretty good actually
Yeah.
in M15. To be honest, not amazing. Certainly not amazing, but it was totally fine.
I think the quality of Shaman of Spring or this card sort of depends on the speed of the format, though.
Yeah, but I feel like back then when creatures were Garbo, this guy was probably better than he looked.
The creatures actually don't seem that bad in this set.
I
Like,
mean,
I think
the birds have been pretty powerful so far.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, they'd be more powerful if they had a fit of rage. So,
Nice segue.
Thank you. Fit of Rage, 1 and a red. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains first strike until end of turn.
Wow.
Sorcery.
Boom.
Right? That's
Nice
so
on
bad.
the delivery.
No
Nice on the
problem.
delivery. I was like,
The fake out.
oh, when I remember this combat... Oh, sorry. This is another art that fills my heart with joy.
It's so, like, I guess it's fine if you just want to get through for, like, 5 damage.
Oh, that fake
'Cause
out
they-
was so good, Graham.
You have, like, a 2/2. It's like, now it's a 5/5
You
first
put it on your
strike.
Dwarven Berserker.
Oh, then it's a 4/4 with first strike, and they can never block it. So
would-
you
well,
just
I don't
pay 2
think they-
damage to get in for 4, I guess. It is the guy on Fit of Rage, isn't it?
Is it really?
Isn't it the same guy?
It is.
It's totally the same guy.
This is a great pack.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so happy right now.
The
No.
fun gatherer ruling for Fit of Rage is just the like, I don't know why we have to say this, but just due to the way it's written, they have to say the 3/3 is also only until end of turn.
Right.
Target creature gains +3/+3 and gains first strike until end of turn. I guess some people were trying to argue that it's like, well,
No, it gets to keep 3/3.
it gets to keep the 3/3.
That's really
But
funny.
No.
I'm also-
Don't try to do that.
I'm also really happy that the flavor text is from Karn the Silver Golem. I don't think the flavor text is particularly interesting, but
Yeah.
the author of it.
But Karn was around in
Yeah?
this sort of... He was part of the story of the Weatherlight.
Yeah, you have Miri's talking about everything there. Krovax. Oh,
Speaking of Krovax,
yeah.
I'll read you the flavor text on
Please.
Shattered Crypt first. You must be mad to want such as I aboard. You must be mad to want one such as I aboard the Weatherlight, but I would be mad to remain here with my rotting family. I accept. They recruited him out of a crypt, apparently. So this is the other weird graveyard interaction spell.
Okay.
X black for a sorcery.
Okay.
Return X creature cards from your graveyard to your hand and lose X life. I don't know how good that is.
This is like super buried alive.
Yeah.
Well, super Disentomb, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's good enough to go into Reanimator decks. Like I
Like you
think
get
there's
to get
better...
you get to like get your hand super full.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't want them in your hand
No,
because
not
you can't cast.
Again, that's not from a Reanimator deck. Yeah. But it's like you lose a lot of life doing that. What's you for 6 mana you get 4 creatures back from your graveyard and you lose 4 life.
I mean, the thing is, by the time you get 4
And
creatures
then-
back from your graveyard, you probably don't want to lose 4 life.
Exactly, and then you've already spent 6 mana to get them back, so you can't cast them that turn.
I mean, I feel like what you do is you use this to get 1 creature back.
I'd rather have Howling Misery at that point. If
Yeah.
I've got 4 cards in my graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to the uncommons now.
All right.
Aether Flash. Ooh. Aether Flash. 2 red enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into play, Aether Flash deals 2 damage to that creature.
Oh, cool.
So stops token things.
Oh, that's so fun.
They're just like, hey guys, I bzz. Ow.
Oh, I wish I could remember the name right now. There's another.
So I make 1,000,000 goblins. Bzz.
There's another hilarious enchantment. This is going to set somebody off to make an amazing EDH deck. It's a colorless red, and whenever a creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to its creature's controller. It's like combo.
Well, it just means that no one can ever cast anything.
I've played against commander decks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you know what goes in that deck? Lava Storm.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one that Alex got kind of excited about. Aura of Silence. 1 white. Artifact and enchantment spells cost target opponent an additional 2 colorless to play. Sacrifice Aura of Silence, destroy target artifact or enchantment.
I think they errated that later on
to just be
all opponents.
all opponents?
Yeah, that thing's fantastic, and I've actually played that before in prison style decks, and that reminds me I need to get this in my prison style deck.
Well, we have one, so there you go.
Oh, I've got. I have one. I like this card a lot, like a lot.
And the prison, when we say like a prison deck, we're looking at cards like that mean that you can still do stuff, but you have to pay extra for it. Because there was the card Ghastly Prison. Was that the one? Or
I don't know if that was the first one.
well, it was one of them.
Yeah.
They're called, I think that I assume that's why they're called prison style decks. I mean, people also say
there was Ghostly Prison. You have to pay 2 to attack.
People also say propaganda effect.
Because propaganda is.
Yeah.
Isn't propaganda
pay 2 for-
basically the same as Ghostly
It's the
Prison?
same except it's white. It's blue instead of white. Trinisphere is a classic example of this. You see it in basically only Vintage because you can cast it off of Workshop. But you might be able to see some in Legacy as well. It's a 3-mana artifact that says all spells must cost at least 3 mana. And the reason that's bananas in Vintage is Mishra's Workshop, you can tap it to add 3 colorless mana only to cast artifact spells.
Right.
And so you played it on turn 1, and they're like, okay, I'll see you on turn 3 while you do nothing.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything for 3 turns.
And you're just casting artifacts.
Yeah,
and stuff.
and well, every turn you have at least 3 mana because of that land.
Wow.
So it's backbreaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole lock them out. It's also known as stacks, or because of the card smokestacks, and
Right.
yeah,
I mean, we joke about this in Friday Nights, but the etymology of Magic terms is, I think, really interesting. Mm-hmm. So this Alex and Cam were like, oh, that guy. This is Veteran Explorer. It's a 1/1 for a single green. If Veteran Explorer is put into any graveyard from play, each player may search his or her library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them into play, and then each player shuffles their library.
yeah, card's really cool.
They were talking about, now I don't know if you know this deck. They were talking about the Nic Fit deck. It's in Legacy or Vintage. It's one of the Eternal formats. Are you familiar with it?
I mean, I've heard of Nic Fit. To be perfectly honest, I've always I wonder what that deck is.
Oh, okay.
So how does that work?
I'm not
I've
entirely
seen it
sure.
played in
Explained
Commander.
it a little bit last time, but I don't actually recall how it came into play. And there's like 8 different theories about how that deck actually got its name. And all of them are spurious.
All sound apocryphal at best.
Yeah, but Paul, can you remember why this was relevant?
I mean, it ramps.
We brought Surgeon to talk about Modern, not Veteran Explorer. But
Yeah, that card is super cool. I love it even in Commander, because some people really want mana, and it doesn't matter if their opponents have it if you're casting.
Bigger, huger
everyone
things.
gets to go looking for land. Yeah.
Yeah, even in like a Cuddle Buddy strategy, you're like, hey, don't attack me. I gave you 2 lands.
Yeah.
And our rare, I know you'll know what this does.
Okay.
Pendril Mists.
Oh yeah, it's the Tabernacle enchantment.
It is.
That goes right in there with Aura of Silence. It's
Yeah.
cards that make your opponents have all the fun in the world.
3 and a blue for an enchantment. Each creature gains during your upkeep. Pay 1 colorless or bury this creature.
Yeah, that's a classic first pick.
Yeah. So the important thing there is that people forget, and then if they draw their card, they've missed the trigger and all their creatures die.
Yeah, and yeah, the way to explain why it's theirs is this isn't an effect you control.
Yeah.
The way I like to explain it to my opponents, because I often play Tabernacle effects, and I don't like to cheese people and be like, I drew a card, it died, is you have to picture that this line of text during your upkeep pay 1 is now written on every one of your own creatures, and so you're responsible for the trigger on your creature.
So you tell them that at the beginning. You're like, so I'm casting Tabernacle. Here's what's up, and then you let them mess it up.
Yeah, and then something that you can do is you're allowed to put a marker on top of your library. which is interesting, and it's a reminder before you draw your card. You're like, all right, upkeep. What was I going to do on my upkeep?
We were talking about that, and there was because
you can't put like cards and stuff.
Exactly,
on top of
because
your
for rebound, right? People put like dice or counters on top of their decks to remind them to cast the spell from rebound, because judges do not like it when you put the physical card there, because there's instances like Courser of Krufix where you
That'll show you the card on top of your library.
Actually has the top of your library face up, so you can't put a card there, but you can put some sort of thing there.
Yeah, Serge says no.
Yeah, and there was a story that I was relaying that I'd heard about. I believe it was on an episode of Limited Resources. I can't recall where I heard the story, but about a Pro Tour player who kept forgetting why
he'd put a dice on top of his deck and then be like, why is this here? Like, knock it off.
Yeah, like he'd put a die there and then be like,
no.
He would just, without thinking, move the die off and draw the card and miss his triggers. And so I believe it was either during the event or like between day 1 and day 2, went to a pet store and bought a hamster ball.
Ooh.
And took it in half and put the dome
just covered his
over the deck.
Oh, that's so funny.
So that when he tried to reach for it, and just bonk, bonk, bonk. Oh, that's why that's
awesome.
there.
Awesome. I have won and I have lost games due to effects like Tabernacle and due to the packs, which kind of ties in nicely to Modern as well. It's not a good feeling. It doesn't feel good to be like, hey, Serge, did you pay for your creatures with Tabernacle? And you're like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope.
Scoop them up.
Let's go to game 2.
Goodbye, friends.
Goodbye, WinCons.
All right, so I was just doing a quick look up on Nic Fit. So on another story about the name.
Oh yeah.
This is actually from the mothership. So this is a daily Decalist article. Apparently, it was originally talked about in a forum post, and it was supposed to be Nice Fit because the deck has a lot of synergies, and they made a typo when they did the thread name, so it was Nic Fit, NICFIT.
Oh, that's so much more simple than any of the other theories.
That sounds plausible.
And
typo on the internet?
Surely.
And so and as with anything on the internet, when there's a typo, it then gets spread around and people just keep using it because they are amused by the typo. So one of the combos in the deck is Veteran Explorer and Cabal Therapy.
Right. That was it.
And that's mainly because Cabal Therapy is, I will throw it up on here. It's name a non-land card. It's a 1-drop black sorcery. Name a non-land card. Target player reveals his or her land and discards all cards with that name. But what's important, it has flashback, sacrifice a creature.
Right. So you play the Veteran Explorer, you Cabal Therapy them, look at their hand, then you flash it back, sacrificing the Veteran Explorer.
Then you actually get
which doesn't cost you any mana.
Right.
You definitely get a card because you know what's in their hand, and you get to go looking for 2 lands.
And what's especially nice is that it's 2 basics from Veteran Explorer.
Yeah.
So a lot of
don't have 2 basics.
A lot of higher level stuff for playing only non-basics. So they might, because normally the other guy also gets 2 lands, but if he's got no non-basics, then only you get the advantage.
Basics, yeah.
How does Nic Fit win?
Notably, they don't come into play tapped.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. How does Nic Fit win?
Yeah.
Like
it's playing green and black. Is it playing Goyf?
I think it just does stuff faster than them.
I'm just looking at the deck list here. It's got Broodmate Dragon, Huntmaster of the Fells.
All right.
It's got Primeval Titan.
What?
Yep.
Scavenging Ooze, Thragtusk, Thrun.
This is in Legacy?
Yep. This top aided the Kansas Open in April 2013.
There you go.
Huh.
Yeah, it's an interesting deck.
I didn't know there was a deck that played anything above a 4-drop that wasn't like show and tell.
What color is Broodmate Dragon?
Red green, I believe, or Jund.
It's red green black.
So this is a Jund deck. Jund them out.
Just Jund them out.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Master with the red splash as well.
So
Madness.
Modern Masters 2015
Modern
is coming
Masters,
out.
yeah.
It's Modern Masters the sequel.
Pretty spicy.
Very spicy.
And Modern Masters serves 2 main purposes. One, it gets a bunch of cards that are hard to get, or are too expensive.
Very expensive.
Not that Wizards directly acknowledges the secondary market, but cards that are hard to get.
Yeah.
Cards that are hard to get are typically expensive because there's only so many of them that were made, right?
Yeah. More of them out into the wild. And 2, it makes a sweet limited environment.
Yeah.
Oh, I had so much fun playing Modern Masters 1. I am pumped for Modern Masters 2015.
So the first one, I am led to believe that while the first one was only really balanced for draft, that this one is also balanced for limited or for sealed as well, which will be happening, of course, at the
Sealed.
Well, because that's
GP Vegas.
That's the format at GP Weekend.
Oh, pardon me.
Because it's GP Vegas and Utrecht and Chiba, Japan.
Right. Well, we'll
So
see how
that'll be
many
fun.
people sit down, open foil, goif, and drop.
That's probably,
Yeah,
I mean, I think
like
that's
a real
fine.
strategy. You just show up and you're like, did I get the lottery? There's going to be, what, 5,000 people again?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
No more than that.
And that means, all right, more than that. Oh my God, that's so many people.
Well, GP Chiba capped at 4,000 and they sold out in a day.
yeah. Let's just like, how many packs are being opened here? So sealed is 6 packs.
A lot. Yeah.
So let's assume 5,000 people. That's 20,000 packs.
Oh,
And then on
glad
a
that
print
packaging
run,
is recyclable now.
Yeah.
yeah, and then on print run, like how many foil goifs do you think are going to be open there?
In a-
10?
Maybe?
Well, in 20,000 packs, I mean, obviously, it's like a foil mythic, which is so rare, but at that rate,
Yeah.
it does have a chance of coming up.
Well, that's the
right?
thing. It's like when one of the when Star City Games goes to when a new set goes online and they're starting to speculate on what the prices are going to be and how many they have. They open so many cases of cards. They just know they're like, okay, we've done the math. We're going to have 5 of these foil mythics. So it'd be neat.
It's got to be kind of miserable opening all those packs.
Ugh, the
And
joy
and-
probably of like it's probably great the first day you do
Yeah.
it, and misery.
Sorting all the cards.
Oh yeah.
Oof. So let's start with a couple of 1-drops because we called it. Many people called it, but Cam mentioned it on the podcast. Noble Hierarch
Oh yeah.
is being reprinted.
Yeah.
Very excited about
Yeah.
Noble Hierarch. It's a single green mana for an 0/1 with Exalted.
Oh, card's bananas.
With what Exalted means is that whenever any creature that you control attacks by itself,
yep.
it gets +1/+1 for every instance of Exalted among permanents that you control.
And they stack.
And they all stack. And so, because there's some enchantments that just sit there and have Exalted, but mostly it's on creatures. So Noble Hierarch attacks as a 1/2 by itself, but mostly just sits there and lets other things get bigger.
Yeah, lets you cast other things.
The best mana elf, even though it's not technically an elf, it taps for green or white or blue.
Yeah.
Taps for Bant.
And I'm excited about the possibility. So this is the thing. Either they're reprinting Noble Hierarch because it's a really powerful card and it's good in Modern and they want to get more of it out there, or also maybe Exalted is a thing.
Well, we don't know what the white sort of primary white mechanic will be.
No, but we don't know that Exalted is the primary green mechanic because
Well, no, I have my own theories about what the primary green mechanic is. And, I think it's going to be Infect.
right.
I don't know. They've got prime time in there, and that makes me think they're going to go in a ramp direction, just like straight classical big green. But I guess that's not a mechanic, is it?
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, Prime Time's another one that they kind of have to reprint regardless of whether or not it fits, whether or not it synergizes.
Yeah, like
with the
Goif,
set.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, its
Now,
price
the-
isn't
the-
that high compared to the other ones.
The ramp is a good point because they've also
I mean,
spoiled
Hierarch does ramp.
Nest Invader and Eldrazi.
they've spoiled Kozilek's Predator
Yeah.
and Nest Invader, both
Yeah.
of which make Eldrazi spawn because of
Yeah.
course they're reprinting Emrakul, Kozilek, and Ulamog.
But I mean, like the thing is, unless you have ramp, those cards are completely unplayable.
Yeah, and you can't reanimate them because of the Eldrazi clause where they shuffle back in. So that's kind of neat.
Right? Like they're great, and I mean they're very popular in lots of commander decks and stuff like that. But in pretty much any, maybe you have a better chance at sealed because it is slower. But in draft, you're never going to cast a 10-drop unless you can do some silly stuff to get there.
Unless you're the modern deck Urzatron.
Well, yeah, but in draft?
Yeah. Which is kind of hey, for Jer's, I couldn't remember if it was his 30th birthday or his bachelor party.
Oh yeah, his
he had
30th.
he had a Chronicles Saga
It was
draft.
Chronicles 4th edition.
Yeah, and I managed to put together the Urza set because I had Channel and Fireball and all of the Urza set lands, and I was
Oh my
fireballing people
God,
out, and
that's
it was
amazing.
it didn't do well, but when it did, oh god, did it feel good.
Didn't Jer win off of the Aladdin's ring? a bomb in that format.
Oh dear.
Turns out it's bananas in that format. Green's mechanic might be a token sub-theme with Scion of the Wild in there. Because while the Eldrazi spawn tap for mana, they also count as creatures. And then, I mean, if there's something like, what's that at White Enchantment? Tokens get +1/+1 and gain vigilance.
Intangible virtue.
And that was in
That was
Conspiracy.
That was from Innistrad block.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Conspiracy.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
pretty good in Conspiracy,
yeah, I mean, a
actually.
token thumb
But-
seam is very easy to assemble.
Innistrad block is not in MM2 though. It's not in this.
It only goes up
Modern
to the
Masters
end of-
2015 only goes up to Scars of Mirrodin block.
Oh, is that what they do? I didn't know what the rationale behind it was. I thought they just
Yeah.
like threw a dartboard at
So they
powerful
can certainly
cards.
they can certainly have anthem effects, but not intangible virtue.
That's fine. I was wondering what the rationale was.
I'll give you another reason after we
Oh,
talk
please.
about why I think Infect might still be a thing. I mean, I could be wrong.
I just
But
wanted-
after we talk about this other one drop.
Well, I just wanted to mention before we move on there. Well, no, let's have you
Yeah.
talk about Infect. But I just wanted to mention for trivia purposes, Scion of the Wild, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's 1 green for a star, and it's what the stars mean is that its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. This card has been rarity shifted to common from rare.
What?
Scion of the Wild used to be rare.
It used to, I had some as a rare. It's just a common now?
It's a common in
Oh,
Modern
that's
Masters
very
2015.
interesting.
Well, maybe it is a token strategy.
Wow,
yeah,
that
you don't
means
need to
could
make
get like
that many
6 of them,
Eldrazi
which would be
spawn.
really funny. Mm-hmm. I remember that was a rare. I put together a terrible Thallid deck, and that was my finisher.
The Thallid Bowl.
With that and Doubling Season.
Oh, gross.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But they are reprinting.
Doubling Season again?
No.
Thallids?
No. Mirren Crusader. Protection from green and black. Very, very relevant if
Is that one-
Infect is going to be a thing.
Is that one rare? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They didn't rarity
So-
shift that one.
yeah, again, it's tough though because most of what's been spoiled is rares, and so Mirren Crusader, right? It's 3 mana. It's 1 white for a 2/2 with double strike, protection from black and green. It's just a solid card. It's good in white weenie, but
there's
but it could mean that Infect is a thing, but it could also just be being printed because it's a really good card. So it's tough to. It's
I don't
tough
know.
to
Is
make
there
a
that
call.
much demand for Mirren Crusader?
It's just a good card.
That's
It's
fair.
like $3 or $4.
Not every. Don't forget, not every card in the set is some sort of bonkers modern staple. They also want to make it a good draft environment.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
I feel like
Edric. Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like perhaps the reason I'm like really hoping and convinced that the green mechanic will be Infect is because I'd really like to play Infect again.
Mm-hmm.
I want to draft Infect. I think that would be amazing.
but I was
Let's talk about some other one drops.
well, yeah, because I was mentioning one drops. Noble Hierarch, probably one of the best green one drops.
Ever.
Yeah, pretty bananas.
If you're talking one drop creatures in red, probably the best. I think it has to be the best ever. Is Goblin Guide.
Yeah.
The most
Bananas.
aggressive.
Bananas.
And they are reprinting Goblin Guide. It is
Yeah.
a 2/2 for a single red mana.
Doesn't even come into play tapped. Has haste, but it has a drawback
if you
Drawback.
if you want to call it a
in
drawback.
heavy air quotations.
Now, I'm going to actually say, before we get too excited about this, this is listed on the site as unconfirmed.
Oh, really?
So I'm saying that now
Interesting.
to avoid embarrassment like last time. Because I
Interesting.
noticed that the card art on the page is the art from Zendikar.
Oh, they haven't. It doesn't have
And
a
when you
symbol
click on
released
it,
for
it says unconfirmed.
Oh, they've
So
updated their website, so now it says that.
we didn't inspect every single page. So that's it may well have said unconfirmed, but we didn't actually go into the individual card pages to look. So basically everyone is assuming they're going to reprint Goblin Guide. By the way, the downside is that whenever you attack, they reveal a land card. If it's
they reveal the top card of their library.
top card of the library. If it's a land, they get it in their hand.
Oh, but the thing
But-
is, you still get to know what's on their top.
Yeah.
of their
Also,
library.
you're slamming them for 2.
You're
so
getting
whatever.
free
But they
information.
are. This is confirmed. They are reprinting Lightning Bolt.
Woo!
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily like, yeah, we can find lightning bolts. Those aren't hard to find, but it's just good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody likes
you need to
playing with
fill out
Lightning
the
Bolt.
card. So here's a fun interaction that even though I knew for a long time and would like teach people about, I still got wrong in Highlander, and it broke my heart. The way Goyf works and the way damage works
Right.
on stuff like that. So pretend Tarmogoyf is a 2/3. And it's
Okay.
a 2/3 because there's a land, there's a sorcery, and there's a creature. There's 2 cards. There's a land and there's a sorcery in your graveyard.
Okay.
You're like, haha, I'm going to lightning bolt it. I'm going to do 3 damage to Goyf, and I'm going to kill your Goyf.
Right.
So what's going to happen is there's going to be 3 damage marked on your Goyf. Lightning Bolt is going to go into your graveyard. Goyf's toughness is going to pop up to 4, and it's going to survive, and you're just going to throw away a card.
State-based actions and layers and you.
And I've known this for a very long time, and it still didn't prevent me from making the mistake last time I played Highlander. And I was like, I'm going to kill your Goyf. And I'm like, I'm just going to go crawl into a corner and die now.
I'm just going to throw this lightning bolt in the trash.
The thing is, if you make that mistake, don't feel bad about it. Even experts can.
Hardly an expert, apparently.
But here, hey, speaking of things that are no longer not just wishful thinking, and speaking of things that I called mainly because I desperately wanted it to be true, they're reprinting Vampire Lacerator.
Why would they reprint Vampire Lacerator?
Well, because I'm really, 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 really hopeful that the Black Tribe is going to be vampires.
I certainly get that impression.
That's pretty cool.
Because they've got Bloodthrone Vampire as well. And, they got the Bloodthrone Vampire and Vampire Lacerator.
And there's no reason to reprint those unless Vampire is somehow relevant.
Is that the card you're most excited about?
I love... Okay, so we started playing...
It goes vampires then kittens or something?
Well, no, we started playing Magic right at the end of... Zendikar Block. And so I put together an actually super decent black-red vampire standard deck, and I loved it. Yep. And I did not do well in standard because of this is of course Cawblade time.
Caw-caw.
And but I could even win a few games, and I was not as good at Magic as I am now. And I think if it was the same situation, I could really roll face
go
with
in
that.
and crush now.
Because I know
give a vampire a sword.
Well, because I'm better at playing control too. Like I wasn't very good at playing at the time. I fully admit that.
The vampires are very aggressive though.
Yeah, it's not even my playstyle anymore, but I still know how to turn cards sideways.
That's true.
And they're just so good. Everything is good, and Bloodghast is good.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if you could have Bloodghast and Blood Artist in the set?
Yeah. All right, Graham, what's your favorite card that was spoiled? Because I've got mine, and it might surprise you.
Okay, let me see. My favorite card that they
there's cards I'm obviously very excited that they're reprinting. I'm happy to see the cost go down on some. I'm sad to see the costs go down on others. Like I picked up a foil Mox Opal back when it was $35, and it's just like taking this baby to the moon. And it's going to drop a bit, but so it goes.
I don't know. I mean, it might just be Noble Hierarch. I mean, to be honest, I do love Horde of Notions. Not that I know what it does. I just love the idea that it's a bunch of ideas
just
of
crammed
animals
together.
It's just a thing. It's this. It's a 5/5 for the full Wooburg. It's white, blue, black, red, green.
Oh yeah.
With vigilance, trample, and haste. And then it has this other ability that for the same cost, white, blue, black, red, green, you may play target elemental card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. I don't know how often that will ever come up, especially in draft.
Well, there's your Reanimator deck right there.
Well, that's the thing, right?
You have to reanimate an elemental.
You want to talk about Reanimator targets? They're reprinting Iona. Iona Shield of Emeria is 9 mana on the face of her.
Yeah, you never want to hard cast that.
She's 6, white, for a 7/7 flyer. But when she enters the battlefield, you choose a color, and your opponent cannot cast spells of that color.
I wonder if they're going to reprint Goryu's Vengeance.
Oh, that's the legendary creature reanimate spell,
Instant
isn't it?
speed, too.
Instant.
So if you can discard your Eldrazi, you can reanimate your Eldrazi.
Oh, because they don't get...
You do it in response to the trigger. So the trigger's on the stack. Before you stuffle your graveyard, you cast Goryu's Vengeance to bring back the Eldrazi.
Yeah.
No. I didn't know about the elemental clause. Yeah, I got that.
We weren't talking about the elemental thing necessarily.
Anyways, the card...
I was just saying... I was saying Horde of Notions would be a thing to reanimate.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're paying Wooburg for it.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then you get a 5/5 Vigilance Trample.
Well, you've got this Sunburst mechanic, so Wooburg might be a thing. But I'm getting distracted.
Okay,
My favorite
what's your
card?
Yeah.
Swans of Bernargle.
Oh, Swans
I want to talk about those.
Oh,
Swans
God,
of
I love
There's
that
an
card
amazing
so much.
combo.
Oh, of course.
The Magical Christmas Land combo.
It's not even that Magical Christmas Land. That was
true.
it was a real deck for a while.
All right, let me tell you what Swans of Bernargle does. It's a 4/3 flyer.
Yeah.
For 2 Azorius.
Blue-white skies.
So it's 2 blue-white hybrid mana for a 4/3 flyer. So 4 mana, 4/3 flyer, that's sweet. That's good.
That's great. I'm so happy to
And
run
then
that in any situation.
Then it has this weird ability. If a source would deal damage to Swans of Bernargle, prevent that damage.
Okay, that's great.
The source's
Block all day.
The source's controller draws cards equal to the damage prevented this way.
I'm sorry, it gets better? Sign me up.
Wait,
No.
doesn't that make Lightning Bolt an Ancestral Recall?
Yes. Yes.
This card's amazing.
No. Well, if you lightning bolt your own card, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But while we're thinking, oh, it would be so amazing, this is confirmed now, isn't it? I just want to double
Which one?
check. Go down to the artifacts.
This one?
No,
This one.
this one.
Yeah.
Spellskite's being reprinted.
I'm really excited about
No,
that.
this is a rare. So as long as you get these 2 rares for Spellskite. Oh, it's changeability to Spellskite.
Oh, you're
I
thinking,
was so excited.
You thought Spellskite just changed abilities around.
I just thought it.
Oh,
I
you
was
thought
so
it
excited
redirected.
for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that
I
you
thought
could
we were gonna
steal
get a
their card draw?
redirect.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
No.
Serge, why are you excited about Swans of Bernargle?
I mean, you can. Well, if your opponent does have a Swans of Bernargle, you can, and they do try funny business. You can redirect it to Spellskite.
Oh, was that the combo you're talking about with Spellskite?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's a real combo deck built around Swans of Bernargle.
Okay.
It's called Seismic Swans.
Tell me
Yeah,
about this.
seriously. And I love this, and I've tried to build in Highlander. The other half of the combo is a card called Seismic Assault. For the very modest, it's an enchantment for red. So, and this was a deck that played that. It also used to run 4 of Manamorphose,
Okay.
Okay.
which is a card you normally see in Storm. Manamorphose says instant speed, colorless, and then green-red hybrid, so Gruul. You draw a card, and then you may add any 2 mana to your mana pool, any color combination you want to. So it lets you color fix to get around these crazy... You'd be running green to like find other lands. You'd be running blue-white to cast Swans. You'd be running a ton of red sources so you can cast Seismic Assault and stuff like that. So what happens is Seismic Assault, this red enchantment says, discard a land, deal 2 damage to target creature or player.
Okay.
So what you do is you target your own Swans and
Right.
draw 2 cards, hopefully one of them being a land. You discard one again, target your Swans again. Now it requires a bit of deck construction. You need to have higher percentage in your deck than 50% lands, so that if you do it eventually, you draw more lands than you have. Eventually, you can draw your entire deck.
Right.
And then once you have your entire deck in your hands, you discard all the lands of Seismic Assault and you kill your opponent. It works. It's a real deck.
That's crazy.
That sounds amazing.
And
I just want to turn my Lightning Bolt into an Ancestral Recall.
I mean, that's pretty cool. So I'm very curious about this set. They have the halves of a lot of combo pieces. So one of the top decks in Modern is Splinter Twin. Like that deck is bonkers, and probably one of the main reasons that Treasure Cruise was banned was like that, and Delver got too strong. They just became too consistent.
Yeah.
And in Modern Masters 2, we've got the 2 combo pieces. We don't have any of the enablers spoiled yet, but we have Splinter Twin and we have Kiki Jiki.
Yeah. And so we're assuming that we're going to see Pestermite or Deceiver Exarch. Because
Could they do that?
Well, so here's the thing. Pestermite was already reprinted in the first Modern Masters.
Yeah.
But so was Vendilion Clique. And
Yeah.
we say Clique here in Canada.
How do other people say it?
Click.
What?
Yeah.
I know. Doesn't that sound wrong?
Yeah.
I'm going to click you?
Yeah.
It's like when you.
It's how they pronounce that word in the States.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
Sure,
You
okay.
want to be in a clique with the cool kids, and I'm like, I don't know what you're
It's a
talking
what?
about.
Yeah.
It's
My
like
high
niche
school,
and niche.
My high school was very
Ugh.
cliquey.
Yeah.
But other people would say clicky. And I'm like, what? There's a noise that you have roaches? Anyway. But V-Clique is back in this set as well.
I keep bumping my microphone. I keep going to scratch my face and hitting this thing.
So it's like, there's no reason that they couldn't reprint Pestermite, but they couldn't have printed Deceiver Exarch before because it's from Scars block. But they could print it in this set. And the thing is, I think they want to, right? Like, you're never going to be able to pull it together in draft. Maybe, but you could definitely have a sealed deck with Splinter Twin combo. And how fun would that feel? Not for your opponent, but can you imagine
you.
actually getting to put together Twin combo in Limited?
It'd be nuts.
That'd be sweet.
bananas.
That'd be super sweet.
For those of our listeners, because this is supposed to be sort of a more introductory level, could you explain Splinter
right.
Twin, Deceiver
Oh, yeah.
Exarch?
I was going to say we should, do that.
So Deceiver Exarch and Splinter Twin,
And Pestermite.
pardon me, actually wanted to go the other way. So Splinter Twin and Kiki Jiki both have the effect that you tap the creature, Splinter Twin being the creature you've enchanted with Splinter Twin, and Kiki Jiki, you tap Kiki Jiki to make a copy of a creature. And I'm simplifying a bit like that. And the two enabling cards that we're talking about, Pestermite and Deceiver Exarch, when they come into play, you can tap or untap a permanent. So what you do is you then untap the other half of the combo. And then since that's untapped, you can then tap it again to copy again. And every time you make a clone, it has haste, which is the other part of the combo. And they're untapped, untapping the original creature. So you can make an infinite army of these tokens and then eventually overwhelm your opponent.
Yeah.
Now, modern players got clever about this with the printing of, I believe it's Rakdos Charm.
Yep.
That says deal 1 damage to target opponent equals the number of creatures they control. So there's been this kind of fun Cold War going back and forth.
I know that Golgari Charm kills Pestermites because it's -1/-1 to every creature your opponents control, or every creature.
Rakdos Charm is the defense against this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Serge was saying.
Yeah, each creature deals 1 damage to its own controller.
Right. So
Yeah.
you wait till they have lethal and then go and Rakdos Charm?
Yeah, you wait till they say, well, so I make 1,000. And you're
Most
like,
people
great.
are like, yeah, 1 billion and I kill you. And then,
Well, because you don't actually ever want to give
In response
somebody...
to you killing me?
You don't ever want to give somebody some sort of like specific number just in case.
well, then competitive players started getting, if it was a matchup where they could realistically have that card, they had to hope they had more life than their opponent and make exactly lethal. And then see if they could survive it, because you walk into that, it's sort of like not paying for your Tabernacle. You walk into like, aha, victory is mine. I attack you with 1 million people. They're like,
Take 1 million damage.
Yeah. Gain 1 million life. There are ways to do that. Magic is silly.
it's called magic. We're wizards.
Yeah, don't get too hung up on it.
Yeah. Now, some things that surprised me is that they reprinted all of the big Eldrazi. Now, mind you, all of the big Eldrazi are expensive.
Yeah.
But the only one that really sees modern play or most constructed play is Emrakul.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest of the big.
Yeah, the most spaghetti of all the flying monsters.
Yeah. Remember, don't put them in a Reanimator deck
Yeah.
unless you have...
Goryu's Vengeance.
Yeah.
It might be a thing. And, we have the block thing. They couldn't reprint Grizzlebrand because that falls outside of the
Correct.
wheel. But they have the biggest targets they have out there. Evoke.
Now,
Interesting.
there's an interesting... So they had Affinity as
Yep.
as a deck
Yep.
in the original Modern Masters.
Yeah, and Storm.
Yeah, but they had Affinity. There's definitely... There's been nothing spoiled that says the word Affinity. But there's been cards that make you think that an artifact deck is certainly pretty high on the list, and there's 3 specifically that I'm thinking of. One, the Planeswalker, Tezzeret the Seeker.
Yep.
He's being reprinted, and just briefly what he does is...
He's real good.
he's 3 blue for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. His +1 is untap 2 target artifacts. Mm-hmm. His -X is search your library for an artifact card with a converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield.
Keep in mind, you can do that for 0.
Yeah. And then -5 is artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. So it turns all your artifacts into 5/5s. So there's that. Blinkmoth Nexus,
Yep.
which is the land that turns into an artifact creature. It turns for 1 colorless mana, it becomes a 1/1 flying Blinkmoth artifact. So you can make your land into like a little 1/1 attacker. Or I guess maybe activate Blinkmoth, then Tezzeret's minus, then it becomes a 5/5, I guess. I don't know. But also, there's a hate card being reprinted. Hercule's Recall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which
card's
is
so
just
good.
ruins the... Like, I know that this is good in actual Modern Constructed because of the Affinity deck or the Robots deck or
I think
Tin Man All-Star Band or whatever they want to call it. It's 1 in a blue, instant, return all artifacts target player controls to his or her hand.
Yep.
So are they printing Hercule's Recall because they want to get more copies out there for Constructed, or do they actually need this as an answer for a deck in this format?
It's interesting.
They're printing it at rare, so it's obviously not like...
Oh, they moved it up to a rare, and that I
Yeah.
think that's one of those draft moves to try and keep the format where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did a lot of research into Modern and talked to a bunch of people who played Modern here in Victoria to do the Modern Pro Tour or Modern Grand Prix episode of Friday nights, and I mean, Robots is not actually that common of a deck, and so I think maybe you want this for your sideboard, but I don't think it's like a linchpin of something. What do you think, Serge?
Hercule's Recall you see in a lot of sideboards.
Yeah.
Because if you run into Affinity,
It's great.
It's one of the few things, like Affinity will kill you on turn 3 or turn 4 fairly consistently. It's bananas. So if you can do that on turn 3 once they're all in, they can rebuild rather quickly, but it always takes, it'll set them back a couple of turns.
It buys you some time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, they're reprinting Daybreak Coronet?
Yeah, that was kind of neat. 2 cards that I feel you overlooked in this artifact theme are Mox Opal.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry. That's fair.
Yeah, Mox Opal, and even that, it's not Bosch the Iron Giant, the one right beside it there.
The Iron Giant. It's
The Rusted Relic.
Rusted
yeah.
Relic. Yeah. So Metalcraft is definitely likely to be a thing because we're looking. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and Etch Champion, you'll see play in Modern Affinity.
See, this is where it gets confusing. We've never like redone an episode before, and of course we talked a lot about Mox Opal the first time.
Okay, pardon
and so
me.
in my head, no. In my head, I'm like, well, we've talked about Mox Opal, but no, we haven't technically because they won't have heard us. Yeah, so Mox Opal is a 0 mana artifact, like you mentioned. You can minus
with
Tezzeret
Tezzeret.
for 0.
Yeah.
That still counts as activating Tezzeret for that turn, but you can do it for 0. And it's an artifact that it actually by itself does nothing. By itself, it does literal nothing. But if you have Metalcraft, which is it when you control 3 or more artifacts, and it counts itself, so you need this and 2 other artifacts, you can tap it for 1 mana of any color.
It's bananas.
And so that works really well with Etched Oracle,
Yeah.
with Sunburst,
Yep.
which is the Sunburst is it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. You can get different colors out of Mox Opal. Also, let's not forget Etched Champion, which also has Metalcraft. And it,
really, really good.
as long as you control 3 or more artifacts, it has protection from all colors. It's a 2/2 for 3.
So you can't bolt it ever or do anything to it.
Yeah.
No, it'll
So-
just block for days.
So, given that, maybe it's a Metalcraft deck.
There's gonna be an artifact theme. And did you notice Dispatch? On Mythic Spoilers, it's
Oh, yeah.
in what is that? Is that Chinese?
Yeah.
But
But it's got the right card frame and set symbol.
yeah. And Dispatch is fantastic, and it's also a staple of the Affinity deck. It is probably the best removal spell ever. For 1 white, it just says tap target creature. Yeah. But if you have Metalcraft, exile target creature with no other side. I mean,
Yeah.
Swords to Plowshare, which is supposed to be the best removal ever, they gain life equal to its toughness.
Path to Exile, they get to go looking for a land.
Yeah.
This, it just goes away forever.
Just gone. And that card is bananas, especially in the right deck. So if
Is
you've
that
got
new
this,
art for Dispatch?
no, it's the same one, which
No,
is
it's
how
the
I
same art.
recognized it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to add insult to injury, it's not an or thing either. The creature gets tapped and then exiled. Just to rub it in.
I didn't know
yeah.
that. That's pretty funny.
That is funny.
This is a really exciting set. I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to it. They've reprinted Bitter Blossom. I mean, it looks like they're having kind of a fairy deck, which might lend
Well, I mean,
credence to the idea of Pestermite coming back.
They had fairies last time. I
Yeah.
think they might just be
But they
reprinting.
didn't have Bitter Blossom because Bitter Blossom was banned at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to say. I think they might be reprinting it now because they can. Right.
I like it that they unbanned Bitter Blossom.
And now it's
nothing
in-
changed other than now it went up tremendously in value.
They are reprinting it at Mythic, which I think is fair.
Yeah,
It's
in
still a
limited,
very
it would-
powerful card.
It would just take over in limited. It would be nuts. It'd be
Yeah.
like Packrat as just like, ha.
But they dropped. It's interesting to see when they do the rarity shifts for something like this because, Dark Confidant is Mythic, which it was in the first Modern Masters, if I recall correctly. Even though, of course, it was only a rare originally. Kiki Jiki is a Mythic now. All Is Dust is now a rare,
Oh,
Instead
instead
of
of
a
a
mythic.
mythic.
whereas
That's
in
interesting.
Rise of Eldrazi it was a Mythic. So
All His Dust is still really good.
It goes in the artifact deck.
Yeah. Dismember is back.
yep. Dismember's back because they got up to New Phyrexia in terms of the reprints, and I guess the last things we should talk about real quick before we go, because I mentioned it earlier that we were talking about the commands, because if you're a newer player, you'll be familiar with the cycle of cards from Dragons of Tarkir, the Atarka's command, Ojatai's command, Silumgar's command, Kolaghan's command, and
Did you say Atarka?
yes, I said Atarka, which was the one I forgot last time.
Wait.
Silumgar? Ojutai.
No, the other one, Dramoka's command.
How did you forget Dramoka?
I did that one first last time. I don't know. Anyway, and they're modal cards that you get to choose 2 of 4 options.
Yep.
So that's powerful right there, because you're always going to get to do 2 things, and you get to do the 2 best things for what you get for whatever situation you're in.
Yeah, I mean, having a card that's essentially, 4 cards in one is
Choices.
always really good.
Yeah.
Right?
So
and they're printing. Now, this was originally a cycle of 5. If you did happen to hear the first one, we talked that, maybe not all of them were winners, but they're reprinting the 2 best.
Yeah. So, Profane Command is X black black for a sorcery. So you pay black black and X, and you get to choose 2 of the following. Target player loses X life, so you can just fireball them out. Return target creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Dece.
Target creature gets minus X until end of turn.
Dece.
Or up to X target creatures gain fear until end of turn.
Dece.
So I see this,
Those are all finishers in black.
correct me if I'm wrong, Serge, I see this happening basically one of 2 ways. Either the first mode and last mode, where you make them lose a bunch of life and then give all your guys fear to crash in for lethal. Mm-hmm. Or the 2 middle modes, where you bring a creature back from your graveyard
And kill one of theirs.
and kill one of theirs.
Yeah. I've actually never seen it cast for the fear mode.
Yeah, neither have I.
I mean, and most of my experience with seeing that card has been in Highlander.
How does it get used most in Highlander?
In a junk deck, in a green-black sort of Reanimator value ETB deck.
And
And then it's normally
typically
like
they're-
reanimate a creature and dome you.
Oh,
Or-
and dome you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or they're just trying to figure out, or kill a creature.
Right. It'll be
It's like one
reanimate
of the
and
two.
And
the first or third ability, right?
Yeah, I've never seen the fear. I mean, it would be a great finisher, and it has that versatility. Be kind of neat.
And then the other one is probably one of the best blue cards ever printed.
This card
Ever
is so good.
Is
card is bonkers.
Cryptic Command. It's 1 blue, so 3 blue mana and 1
Yeah, but it's worth it.
for an instant. And you can do 2 of these things. Counter target spell,
Dece.
unconditional. Return
no.
Return target permanent to its owner's hand.
Keyword
Permanent.
permanent, not non-land permanent.
So-
permanent.
Artifact.
You can bounce a land.
Planeswalker. Combo
Planeswalkers.
piece. Like, whatever. Like, permanent.
Even a land is backbreaking.
Tap all creatures your opponents control,
Dece.
or 3 best words of magic, draw a card.
Dece.
There's
Like,
nothing
this is
more
not-
backbreaking to like counter your spell and bounce a land. How's that for tempo? You're
Yeah.
like,
I'm so far behind now.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, Profane Command's a finisher. Cryptic Command is just the kind of card that gets you to the point where you can finish the game. Like, it's just so good in all of those situations, right? Like, and it's instant, so even if you are just in a terrible state, you can bounce a creature and return and draw a card.
I've seen people fog with it a lot too.
Oh,
If you're a
yeah.
control player and you're behind, tap everything, draw a card. Just, I think that was one of the winning plays I saw in a modern tournament. They were playing Scape Shift.
Oh, yeah.
Splashing blue for cryptic.
Splashing blue.
Yeah.
Splashing for the
I think
blue,
they
blue
had a
spell.
little bit of D2D the wizard, the Vendilion Clique would
Okay.
come in as well for a little bit of hand control and an
That's
alternate
good.
clock as well. But yeah, just
Still, though. Wow.
yeah, really, really, really strong.
There's a situation. There's always a situation for Cryptic Command.
It's bananas. It's one of these cards that should never be reprinted. You look at Ancestral Recall, and every time Wizards tries to reprint it,
Yeah.
it either
Gets
gets
worse.
immediately banned or it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like either just god awful or it's Treasure Cruise, and they're like, "Oh crap, that's way better than
We
we
made
thought
a
it would be."
mistake. We made a mistake. Abort.
Whoops, too good.
Yeah, and then you can look at even in the Dragons of Tarkir set, they're like, we gave you Ojutai's command. And you're like, that's not cryptic. What?
Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of cards that aren't cryptic,
Yeah.
but are good for tempo.
Oh yeah.
Last card to talk about today, because I looked at the clock and I realized there's no way this episode is going to get online before midnight Eastern time.
Now this
Okay.
this is not on Mythic Spoiler.
No,
But-
because this is our spoiler card
Yeah.
Oh, what?
for Modern Masters 2015.
I get to be here for this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool.
Because
Okay, wait, we can let Serge guess what it is, too.
There's a little video that we've done that's going to go up. It will already have been on the website by the time this goes online.
Ooh.
But I figure we can talk about it because there's no way this is going to be online before then.
Ooh.
So let me see. Make you guess. It's certainly a staple. It's pure. It's the most tempo.
It's the most tempo card ever.
Basically, all it does is Cam likes to describe it as it does nothing powerfully.
Yeah, a powerfully useless card, essentially.
Not useless. That's wrong. But it doesn't change a lot. But it's just tempo.
Pure tempo.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it's blue.
Serge is deep in thought. Well, of course,
And
it's blue.
it's blue. I
Well,
mean,
I'm just
I
letting him
think
know.
it might be Snapcaster Mage.
Nope.
No, that's too good.
That's too good. Well,
Well,
pure
because
tempo.
that's more than tempo because you get a creature out of it.
Yeah, and Snapcaster doesn't do powerfully.
There's powerfully
much.
nothing. Well, that's what I thought, because Snapcaster does. Oh,
Right.
man. Does
Yeah,
powerfully nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't
Powerful?
actually.
That's Cam's cute way of describing it.
yeah.
Powerful Remand?
Remand.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, right on. That
So-
was my second guess in my head. That's cool. I got that.
So Remand
Yeah.
is 1 and a blue.
Yeah.
Counter target spell. If the spell is countered this way, the spell, instead of going to their controller's graveyard, goes back to their hand. And you draw a card. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like half a cryptic command. It's half the mana cost. It's half the converted mana cost. You get to counter a spell and
Yeah.
draw a card.
Yeah, but then it's not countered.
The downside being that they get the card back in their hand. But the reason we're talking about this card as pure tempo is because you have spent a card to do it, but you get a card back. So you're not down any cards. And your opponent doesn't lose the card because it goes back to their hand, but they do have to spend the mana to recast
Yeah.
it. They basically
It can
sort
be
of lose
devastating.
their, if that's like the main thing they're doing that turn, they sort of lose that turn.
Yeah, like they basically
So-
if they're tapping out like on turn 4 to play something big or get their last thing into sort of shape, then it's just like nope.
Yeah.
So-
very.
And then
very
they
good
have-
card.
they can't do anything else on their
So
turn.
how do you see this getting used in Modern, and why is that actually good? Because I know that it took me a while to figure it out, and a lot of newer players are like,
But they still get the card.
why is that good? They get their spell back.
Remand is extremely powerful. If you're playing a combo deck
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have any mana left, you're playing Splinter Twin. It sees a lot of play in the Splinter Twin deck. If you go end of turn Pestermite, that you won't have the mana up for something like that. But if you are going to win the game, it doesn't matter that they get the card back in their hand. So in a combo deck where all it takes is one spell, it's 2 mana, it's a hard counter. It's not like Spell Pierce where it's a soft counter, they could pay mana and get around it, or Mana Leak. Same sort of situation. I mean, in that case, they could recast it or something like that. If it's a board state, if you're an early aggressive deck and you're playing, say, like blue-red tempo, you've got Delver of Secrets or something like that. That extra turn of 3 damage could be the difference between winning and losing. I kind of stuttered that word, but that's fine. An extremely, extremely powerful application of this card is you can cast it on your own spell.
Yes.
And then the card advantage becomes extremely powerful. If you cast Splinter Twin, and they're like, haha, I'm going to cast Cryptic Command and counter it and draw a card. Instead of casting Remand on their spell, where they get Cryptic back and your spell
Fizzle
gets...
still.
Well, I guess it would be fantastic if it was Splinter Twin because you'd win. But if it wasn't something that powerful, or if it's a big counter spell war that's going back and forth and you're not sure the situation, you return your own spell to your hand. You still have the threat. They're down a card, and you've drawn an additional card.
And you only paid 2 mana to do it.
Yeah. And
I mean, you
and
paid
got
the mana
power-
for your original spell, but
And
still.
presumably they've wasted a lot of resources.
Yeah,
Or at
some-
least one good resource trying to make your thing not happen.
So
right?
the thing that reads as a possible downside is actually extremely versatile.
Yeah.
And you can always choose to use Remand either in a situation where it basically doesn't matter, or it at least delays them, or it actually really messes them up.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to know when to return a card to your own hand, but especially if it's a counter war and you're not going to win immediately, giving them a counter spell back is not the correct play.
No.
Instead, returning your own spell, letting theirs fizzle, and then having the card advantage. If it's a very tough attrition-based strategy head-to-head, that sort of thinking can win you the game in the long run.
Yeah.
I'm not always in the game. I don't always have the ability to remove myself from the moment to know when those opportunities come.
In the
but
moment,
I've seen other people do it.
In the moment, it's tough, but academically,
Yeah. To know that play exists.
You understand when is good to remand.
Yeah, to have it in your playbook, even if you don't know how to use it correctly. Like, oh, one day I will have this play down, and it will feel glorious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will trade a remand for. I will trade
Their cryptic.
for their cryptic command, and I'll get a card out of it, and I keep the thing that they thought it was worthy to cryptic. Right? That's good. That feels good.
And they don't have cryptic back, which is the important part.
But it is one of those cards that it's like when you first see it, you're like, that's not good.
Like, why
do I want
$20?
Why do I want them to have the card back? I don't want that. Like, I don't. Why wouldn't I just run cancel? Right? And it turns out this is way more versatile. What's up, Paul?
Okay, this is silly.
Okay,
But I just saw
like
this in the comment thread for Remand.
Oh yeah.
Like for the original.
Like on Gatherer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it appears as if on the art for this Remand, which is the Jace versus Vraska.
Oh yeah. It's the art from the Jace versus Vraska remand with the Azorius Guildmage. Not the literal Azorius Guildmage, but a Guildmage of Azorius with her sort of scroll, remanding, I suppose, a Golgari person in the sewers.
Okay.
So, but what it looks like is that they are remanding a Deathrite Shaman,
It does kind of, doesn't it?
which is banned in Modern.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. Like,
Oh,
get out.
that's funny. I like
You,
that.
get out of here.
You, nobody likes you. Go away.
Yeah.
You're weird and creepy.
That's a good point that it's banned in Modern. Yeah.
Well, it's also just too good. I think that's mostly why it's banned in Modern, not just because it's weird.
Yeah.
There's twice now that I've gone to build a Modern deck, and it was sort of cost prohibitive, and I was like, maybe I won't get a play set of this card. And I find out shortly thereafter it's banned. So I was going to go to GP Vancouver, which had a Modern side event, and I was thinking of making a deck, and I was like, I don't have 4 Deathrights. I don't really want. I guess I'll just play a deck that doesn't need 4 Deathrights. And I'm like, ban list, they're gone. I'm like, I'm a genius.
Thank goodness.
And then there's another one. I'm like, I kind of want to put 4 of Treasure Cruise in this deck. Like, it's not that expensive, but like, I just can't be bothered to find some right now. And like, Treasure Cruise is banned. I'm like, oh god.
You know,
So-
there's this
so if what you're
podcast I
saying-
listen to that recommends you play 12 post in Modern.
Yeah.
You should try that one.
Actually, no. What we're saying is, if Surge has a good deck idea, don't buy those cards.
Apparently
Right.
not.
Yeah,
Surge
I'm
is
ahead
the
of my
banning
time.
whisperer. Yeah, if you're like, man, I want to put 4 of X in, I'll be like, sell quickly now. You could be my magic oracle.
That's so funny. Let's build a deck, Serge. You're like, why? Like, no reason.
So, Paul,
Also, Remand, the old version of Remand, the Ravnica City of Guilds version, has awesome flavor text, which is, well, at least all that arm waving and arcane babbling you did was impressive.
So, we'll be talking more about it, obviously, but I am very excited for Modern Masters 2015.
Yeah.
It's not going to be cheap to
No.
draft,
No.
but I've got to draft it at least once. I still have a box of original Modern Masters that I've squirreled away to draft someday because it was such a fun format. So I'm really, really excited about this. And
Or it could be a retirement fund.
maybe, who knows? And James will be at GP Vegas. There's a chance we might go. We're currently debating that, but people
We're looking at the cost.
yeah, but people keep asking. They're like, "Are you guys going to be there?" And we are not having an official presence, but James will definitely be there. So if you see James, go up and say hi.
Well, he'll be in side events all day. But
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's going to play. He's not going to not play the main event.
Yeah.
There's a chance you win a lottery and you get a foil Goyf and you just drop.
Exactly.
You gotta-
The EV on side events is also very good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just gonna say I don't think James is gonna go all the way at GP Vegas.
I'd like to see it.
Perhaps I'm not a supportive friend.
Maybe.
Poor James.
So Serge, thank you so much for coming by.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
And
Keeping our
helping us-
stuff straight.
helping us wade through Modern correctly. Really appreciate
describing decks and rules and what is and is not allowed.
And thanks everyone for watching and who watched the last one and for keeping us honest. I do appreciate that. And Tap Tap Concede is brought to you, as with all of our other content, most of our other content is brought to you by you on our Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. We really value your support there. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.